Okay, guys, it looks like it's almost here. We need these ETFs to go live because I think this will be a pump event. People will no longer be tied to these two coins. I was going to say two specific coins, but HBAR, Litecoin, and other digital assets ETFs have already gone live. We told you that was going to happen, right? Why is it just one person? Because it has something to do with these coins, okay? These ETFs. Because of this, when they do start, the coins usually do pump no matter what coin it is. Since this is the case, we need XRPETFS to start. The problem is that it keeps getting pushed back. When does it happen? I believe it will happen soon, but in theory, 2027 could also be the year. Update from Eric. Bitwise just added the New York Stock Exchange and a fee of 0.34% to their XRP ETF file. These are usually the last two boxes to check in amendment number 4, okay? It looks like we're almost there, guys. We just need to give this the green light, and Eleanor will be done with it. Scoop, Canary Funds has filed an updated S1. Oh wait, I see what you're saying. I think I just cracked the code. The charts show that the XRPETFS should go live this month, so it makes sense, right? There is a chance that XRP will set a new all-time high this month, in my humble view, and for it to set a new all-time high, but only XRP will do that. The start of the XRPETFS is likely to be the reason for that, right? We'll talk more about that in a bit, but I think that'll be the story. First, Canary Funds has sent in a new S1 form for XRP spot ETFs. This new form does not include the delaying change that stops a registration from going into effect automatically, and instead gives the SEC control over when it goes into effect. This means that the Canary XRP ETF will start trading on November 13th, okay? The 13th, of course, right? We knew or should have known that it would start then. I'll let you know, guys, if the NASDAQ approves the ETA file, Canary XRP's ETF will go live on November 13th, which is a huge date. Keep in mind that the reopening of the government could change the date, possibly moving it up if the report is finished and the SEC is happy, or moving it back if staff ask for more time to make their case. It's important to note, though, that the chair of the SEC seems to be okay with businesses using the auto-effective way. Even though he didn't say anything directly about ETF launches, Paul Atkins said yesterday that he liked how companies like MapLights were using the 20-day waiting period to go public during the shutdown. He praised the same legal process that Bitwise and Canary used to launch their Solana, HPAR, and Litecoin ETFs this week, so there you have it. While the markets are closed, there is still a chance that the ETFs will go live. I hope that happens, guys, because if they don't go live soon, I don't think they will go live until 2026, okay? If Peter is right, the shutdown could last until 2027. This is because, unlike other shutdowns, there is no debt cap to scare the financial markets. There's no need for a deal. If that miracle happens, people who aren't needed will be laid off for good, and we'll start paying down our national bills by the trillions. Hey guys, this government shutdown could last until 2027, if I understand correctly. This is what we need to hope. The same way that the HPAR, Litecoin, and Solana ETFs were launched has been used with the XRPETFS, okay? It says November 13th here. If it doesn't, we'll see you in 2027. I don't think so, though. That's why I'm going to talk about market forecasts, what the market thinks, and other things. But in theory, we could go to 2027. Guys, it's going to be the longest government shutdown ever in about a week, right? How long have these government shutdowns been going on for, guys? Before, I think the longest one was 30 days or so. Is that right? So, guys, in a week from now, it will be like a record about. Doesn't really hurt Republicans. They now have a 40% chance of winning the midterm elections, which are the most important thing going on in Washington right now. This is because their odds have gone up since the shutdown started. That's pretty good, since the party in power has only won midterms 3 times since 1934. Even so, here we are, almost even, after 4 weeks of being closed. Polls show that the mainstream media has lost its edge. On the other hand, Trump has made sure to keep funding popular things like the military, ICE, and WIC for pregnant women, while cutting off all the left-wing garbage like foreign aid, money holes for New York subways, wind farms, and food stamps for illegal immigrants. So Republicans don't have to give in very much. They win because they don't do anything, which is, well, their comfort zone. Zero Edge then asks, how long can it go on? Here's the key. Okay, guys, before we go any further, I really think it opens again this month. There are multiple markets here where people are betting on when the government will return. When will the government shutdown be over? November 27th, 26 days. Look at this now. Coming down here, there's a 1% chance in the next few days. November 4th through November 7th, 16% chance. From November 8th to 11th, there is a 20% chance. November 12th through November 15th, 19% chance. And November 16th or later, 47% chance. Yeah, it looks like the government will open again around the end of this month. It has to be this month, right? This means that there won't be any ETFs for XRP unless it goes live automatically. If it doesn't, they'll just keep putting it off because people are used to it. Okay, keep going. That's right, because of the debt cap, it is interesting. Guys, I wonder what would happen if this happened and the government shut down for like 2027. Right? What does that even mean for America? Guys, I've heard that something is wrong with the food and that people aren't getting it or something. Things are going crazy outside. I'm not sure. That is, this might be both good and bad at the same time, right? In other words, they can keep going until 2027. What if they do it just for fun? To begin with, 2027 is a long time ago. These 61 days were needed to fire government workers for good. The budget for office management has already fired about 10,000 people, and it could keep going to the other 750,000 people who are legally listed as useless or not necessary. GDP goes down because government spending is added to it, even though it shouldn't be. Also, jobs are going away because thousands of government workers aren't getting paid six figures to look out the window or pay for riots. Jobs and GDP both look bad, but they both make the government richer. Next is the big one. The debt of the country. It would save about $2 trillion or maybe even $3 trillion if the useless third of the federal government stayed closed for a year and a half. Now, Congress might not be able to spend the extra money they get during a shutdown, so it could go straight into a budget cushion. That would help get rid of debt. In a positive cycle, that would make it cheaper to borrow money for the loan. Not only that, but it would lower the costs of borrowing money for everyone, from companies to families. More importantly, shutting down the useless third of the government for a year and a half would make people think that maybe we should stop funding it and keep the extra money. This sex was brought to you by my trust capital. The chances on the shutdown are still only 44 days away, which means we have a long way to go until 2027. But if Senate Republicans can somehow hold firm, it is possible to get the big cuts that their people really want. We'll be watching. All right, have a nice trip. Guys, it's already 2027. I hope not, because the government needs to open up again so that these ETFs can start trading with XRP right away. JP Morgan says that new altcoin ETFs could bring in $14 billion. Within a year, the bank thinks that XRP ETFs will be worth more than $8 billion, and Solana ETFs will be worth close to $6 billion.